Shalom, call halal Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash, double honors to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone who rule well. And as always, peace and salutation to the elect, the 12 tribes who are scattered amongst the heathen, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, coming back to the Heavenly Father in sincerity and in truth. All right, now, as you see on the screen, more of Esau's filth is being brought to the forefront. And, yesterday, the Elder Ariala did a video on Hillary Clinton and how, there's talks of a specific snuff film and, sexual deviancy that she has, that's because basically what's happening right now is that these Edomites are at war with one another on the inside, okay? And all of them have particular dirt on one another, and particular moves are being made. As the scripture said, the Lord will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and he would make their own tongues to fall upon themselves. All right, so you see that Donald Trump passed a bill, going at, pedophiles and people that traffic children, because what do you think? What do you think is going on? He knows, all right, that the way to go at these, elites, all right, is to through letting out particular of these secrets, which he's a pawn, and it's all the Heavenly Father at the end of the day, but he's going to use them to bring out particular things on each other, and it's going to get ugly. As you saw in the news, they had Trump's dirty laundry, so to speak, out there. All right, but now all of this stuff is coming out. You had the Pizzagate, which Trump is a part of all of that stuff too, You had the Pizzagate scandal that came out last year, and it was just swept under the rug, and this is a system that's in place, all right, where children are a prey, okay, and the scriptures told you that this system will be in place in the latter days, okay, and these elites, the people who you vote in office, who you think are these immaculate, very people who are worthy of rule, all right, they drink blood, they torture children, they have sex with children. It's no longer a conspiracy theory. It's now out there. You have people who were involved in it coming out talking about it, and this is a big problem, all right, that the people who give policy and the people who run and control this earth are pedophiles. That's just one of their issues. All right, as the scriptures say, the soul that is in him is not upright. Okay, he is the adversary of righteousness, and popping a little child in the behind is the highest form of sexual magic, and children by the millions, all right, are being traded and trafficked around the world, all right, by these people, man. And it's usually the people, these foundations that show up when there's a natural disaster, all right, these foundations that are supposedly there for cancer, to help children, all right, at the forefront of those are some of the biggest, most vilest pedophiles out there, okay, and the Heavenly Father is doing a beautiful job in these last days exposing this devil for who he really is. Now, you have Israelites who won't speak on this, all right, but the elect men, all right, we watch and we bring out everything, all right, and we show you who the real enemy is, all right, and the article, all right, it says a founder of one of the largest charities in the world arrested for pedophilia. A United Nations, all right, and that's a part of the beast, all right, advisor and the founder of Street Kids International was arrested on suspicion of pedophilia after he was caught with 2 young children during a police raid. And there you go. I mean, you could see it from a mile away. And I don't understand why you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans haven't looked at this guy and figured out that something was wrong with him. But it's coming out, and these snuff films, all right, are on what people call the dark web. Don't go looking up these films, because Esau could try to use that against you to say that you're looking up, child pornography or whatever. But there's supposedly a dark web, which that there is, all right, and they basically, pass around films of them getting these children and torturing them, drinking their blood, cutting their toes off and chewing on them, freaking off with them, pissing on them, shitting on them. And people hear this and they're actually like, well, you're going too far. No, this is what the so-called white man is all about. This is his MO. This is why pedophilia has followed him his entire time that he's been on the planet. Okay, that stigma has always been with him, but here it is. We're looked at as thugs, but he's not like known as a pedophile. People don't look at him as a pedophile when he's proven all throughout the years that this is what he's about. Okay, and this is one of the secrets that's being revealed. That man of perdition, the son of perdition, that man of sin is being revealed. And this is a beautiful time, because we're gonna find out and hear some of the most vilest things. And don't think it's far-fetched. Like, Esau has particular transgender men, all right, and women out there in the forefront acting as if they are one sex, but they're actually another sex. That's a form of his deception. When you go to the Baphomet, all right, the Hermaphrodites, the Greek god that goes back, all right, to these Hamites, which this all goes back to Ham, all right, that energy is heavily pushed, man. But it says, last week, Peter John Dalglish. Now, would you trust this guy with your child? All right, United Nations advisor and founder of Street and Kids International Charity was arrested on suspicion of pedophilia at a home that he was staying at in Nepal. During the arrest, all right, 2 young children, 12 and 4, were rescued from the home. And this stuff just gets swept under the rug. And here, Hillary Clinton, all right, Barack Obama, all of these people, all right, and no, they're just peons, all right. The Rothschilds, the Rockefeller, the DuPonts, the Gettys, these different elite ruling families, they're doing it even on a larger scale. Okay, Mr. Rogers was a pedophile. Okay, I posted the video and how creepy he was, and you look at that show, and it was basically on how to pick up children, man. Now, those with a spiritual eye can see it, but those who were caught up in his world, they left all type of comments. He was a loving man. He was this. Now, if a white man walks up to your child, hi, Jonathan, you like ice cream? Oh, let's go get some ice cream. And your dumb ass will let them go. And this is why your children are being fagged out, man. You see, these Edomites, they go to everywhere where you Jakes are, man. All right, and offer you aid, because he's able to get away with all of this stuff because he has the monetary, all right, and they able to pay people off and able to do things, but it's all coming out through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai. He won't be able to hide himself, man. It is important to note that there have been conflicting reports about the children that he was found with some of the sources saying the 2 boys were found in his home, and the other suggesting it was 2 girls. All right. And the most up-to-date information seems to be on the Wikipedia page. See, these devils throw out all sorts of misinformation to try to confuse you, but the bottom line is that these people are pedophiles, man, which suggests that there were 2 girls found in his home, and that the allegations involving the 2 boys are a part of a separate investigation. Okay, if this is the case, Dalglish will be facing additional charges. He's 60 years old. He's a 60-year-old citizen of Canada who travels the world working with children. What the hell you think he's doing? All right, he got billions of dollars because these people got so much money that regular pussy doesn't excite these guys no more. Their mind is so fully set on destruction and perverting children. They have to pervert things. When you look at the so-called white man's MO, anything that's pure, he has to taint it, whether it be flowers, air, water, children. Okay, he has to pollute it. He has to figure out a way to put a stain on it. Okay, and these children are growing up to become adults, and they practice the same thing. Okay, so he travels the world working with children, man. And look at this devil, man. You can't see that this guy's a pedophile? Okay, you would trust him with your child? You know he's a nasty freak, man. And these are some aggressive, nasty freaks, man. All right? They had Joe Biden in some video on YouTube, and he's just grabbing the children, and you could just tell how they get down, man. Okay? Our preliminary investigation has found that he has been targeting children from poor financial backgrounds and sexually abusing them. And this is what they do all over the world, because Jake ain't just oppressed here in Babylon. They're oppressed all over the world, man. Okay? And he goes over there and he, you know, the women, the little boys, he sets up particular organizations to act as if he's helping them, but then he uses them, their particular situations against them, man. All right? And this is what he's been doing for years, man. I'm talking about billions of people have been molested and raped under this man's rulership. Okay? And it's coming out. Okay? And this is a problem. This isn't something that people should just let slide. Like you so-called Negroes, you allow African Bambaataa, that just was swept under the rug without any backlash from you. Because you niggas don't have a standard, man. Okay? By promising the family members, all right, that he would educate their children, take them abroad, and also provide them jobs after they finish their education. He had been sexually abusing children. Given his age and his high profile in the humanitarian sector, he would easily win the trust of family members and later abuse their children. Now, the scripture tells you never to trust your enemy, and you Jakes are allowing this man to take your children off for some damn money, man. Oh, yeah, I'll take them all over the world, show them things they never saw. Oh, take them. And then your child comes back, all right, under some sort of MK Ultra mind control, all right, and he's tainted, he's polluted, and he's freaked off, man. And it's all on film, and they pass these films around to one another. Okay? This is a freaky, perverted man. Okay? He's a vile creature. He's and people think that we're crazy. We go out there on the highways and the byways and we're telling you, but we're the bad guys. Okay? And, you know, there's more. You know, you can look at the article. Let's get a scripture real quick. Because you Edomites are being made bare. And Apostle Gabar and Apostle Rakal just did videos on this, man. Okay, Jeremiah 49:10. But I have made Esau bare and have uncovered his secret places. And one of his biggest secrets of the so-called Illuminati, all right, which their light is darkness. They're not the real Illuminati, man. They're not the enlightened ones. They're not the bearers of the light. Okay? They're not Lucifer. All right? They act as if they are. They want to be. But their light is darkness. You see that? So that's what's being uncovered here in these latter days, if you're paying attention and if you're in the spirit. But if you're all into changing the doctrine, you'll miss out on these things and you won't see the power of what the Lord is doing. Okay? So I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. This is what it's gonna lead to. You Edomites are gonna be obliterated off of the earth, man. Your seed line will never, ever be able to procreate after a particular time, man, in the kingdom of heaven, which we'll get into that, Lord willing, later. All right, this is Jeremiah 23:24. Let's get that real quick. Okay. Jeremiah 23:24 states, "Can any hide himself in secret places that I shall not see him, saith Yahweh? Do not I fill heaven and earth, saith Yahweh?" You see that? And that goes for Jake, and that goes for you Edomites, man. Okay? The scriptures have promised in the latter days the man of sin will be revealed. In the system that's in place, okay? The system that's in place, all right, let's see. The system that's in place, this is what they do. This is how they get down. Okay? Wisdom of Solomon 14. We'll get one more and we'll get out of here. Okay? And that thing with Hillary Clinton, you notice the mainstream news ain't really talking about it, man. That's why America wants to do away with, these Russia Today, because they go into the bullshit that Esau tries to hide, man. And that's ultimately why he's trying to get us off of the highways, man. This is and this is speaking of those Hamites, but that's why this is spiritually Sodom and Egypt. Who ran those particular kingdoms? all right, the Hamites, okay, the children of Ham, okay. It says, moreover, this was not enough for them, that they erred in the knowledge of God, but whereas they lived in a great war of ignorance, so great plagues called they peace. And that's the people out here. They call this peace. Okay? Whilst they slew their children in sacrifices, or used secret ceremonies, or made revelings of strange rites. And that's the so-called Illuminati. And their power was their secrecy. But now, as Apostle Gabar said, you got everyday Jakes, lips hanging, okay, gold teeth, pants sagging, and you got these intelligent thugs, so to speak, and they're even talking about the Illuminati and the stuff you do. It's coming out what people got to do to get in Hollywood. It's coming out what people got to do when they get a particular amount of money. That's because these people are in rulership. All of the teachers that are in the classrooms, this whole system is just a big pedophile ring, all right, and a haven for Satan to throw people off, man. Okay, and through being blessed with the monetary means, he's able to pay people to not only promote his wicked agenda, but to hide it, to be quiet about it. But we're living in a time where now the Lord has set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. See, us Jakes, we know through the spirit what he's doing, but you got particular Edomites, you know, trying to get in position to be in it, to win it, because they know America's about to fall, you know, and this new world order is being set up. So they're going to be bringing out dirt on particular these leaders to get them out of power, man. Okay, so you're going to see more come out, and it's the truth. And like the scripture said, their tongues is going to fall upon themselves in the latter days, man. And they think that they're doing it because they're about to win, but the Lord is setting you up, man. A house divided shall not stand. If Satan be fighting against Satan, all right, how shall they stand? And this is a part of how they're going to fall, man. They slew children, okay? And you hear about it. You heard about the Pizzagate, and what did people do? And these stores, all right, were at the forefront of all of these. You see these particular food chains, and particular Dairy Queen, Pizza Hut. At the top of that is a family full of pedophiles, man, who pass it down to their children. And what do? Secretly, they hold, you know, parties and do wicked vile acts to children, each other. Okay, and we're living at the time where it's coming out, man. And at the end of the day, all right, the so-called white man he's a terrorist, he's a predator, he's a problem, and it's time for him to be addressed. Okay, we're living in a time where, see, Esau's been able to pretty much slide out of judgment, you know, through his policy, through his lies, through his witchcraft. But we're living in a time where the Lord ain't gonna allow that, man. Okay, this is Micah 2:3. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, behold, against this family. What family is that talking about? Do I devise an evil from which ye shall not remove your necks? Neither shall ye go heartily, for this time is evil. He's been able to go heartily and wiggle out of judgment, and to, you know, but now this is the time where it's gonna get poured on, man, and it's gonna lead to him having to go to war. Okay, all of this wickedness that he's doing is going to lead to him. Look, we got to just go to war to cover all of this up, man. That's going to be a part of it. Okay, that's going to be a part of it, man. All right, so you're not going to remove your necks from the judgment of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, man. And we're coming up on the time where the prudent, all right, going to keep silent, because we're warning you, man. We're warning you through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai to get the hell away from this man. And he's the wicked, okay? The man of sin, all right, is being revealed. Okay, matter of fact, that's enough. You know, through the spirit, hopefully y'all are edified. Call halal Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone. Peace and salutation to the elect. Shalom.
First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakak Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who are teaching this truth in sincerity. And shout out to Akim that's also going out here in the four quarters of the earth proclaiming this truth, risking your lives to do so, risking humiliation, risking being harassed by the cops, by others, you know, and just, you know, not caring about what others think, but only caring about reaching the hopeful elect, and, we've been seeing a lot of things happen in just the first 4 months of this year of prophecy as declared by Apostle Tahar. And boy, have things been escalating, the war against Syria, it's all coming out that the whole Duma chemical attack was staged, just like all the other lies of that bitch America, the whore, Babylon the Great, and its allies, have been exposed, that the only things that they had destroyed is the evidence that Assad had actually carried out these attacks. They had destroyed a science research building and pretty much a place for pharmaceutical medical items, as well as areas in homes. But here's the thing about the success of the missile defense systems, though. It only did very minimal structural damage. In other words, the missiles that did not get shot down were the ones that were offshore, didn't even really hit the base at all, but just hit the ground. So, of course, the missile defense systems are not going to be worried about taking them out. They are looking to take out the ones that over the city. So you could say, though, that their missile defense system, which was not the S-300, 400, or 500s, but was just the S-200s, that it repelled the terrorist attack, because that's what I call it, a terrorist attack. Donald Trump is one of the greatest terrorists. The UK are the greatest terrorists. France, greatest terrorists. So, WWE had that event yesterday called the Greatest Royal Rumble. And, of course, like everything else, though, on a side note, I do watch wrestling, but I had noticed, though, that what they're big time promoting is Agenda 2030. In fact, that was mentioned. They didn't quite say the word agenda, but it was caught, because the number 2030 was in there. So I'm like, okay, that's the big push. Agenda 2030. And then they were talking about how great that they're going to have the movie theater after all these years. And I've been talking about this for some time, so they were talking about it too. And well, that, of course, is because of the fact that the U.S. military is going to be in Saudi Arabia, just like it was when it invaded Iraq. Same way it's going to be when they invade Syria, through Iraq, through Jordan, and are going to push those groups towards Assad, because that's what it's really about, is removing Assad. Removing Assad has always been the top priority, and the whole world knows that they don't care about anything else but removing Assad, because he's not going to allow the United States, the U.S. petrodollar, to run through Syria. That he has his deals with Iran, who has been an ally of his, and with Russia. And that deal was brokered a long time ago. So what's happened, though, is this petrol won, because Iran has already been trading. There's been sanctions against Iran the entire time. So they've been trading without the U.S. dollar, So what's happening, though, is the petrol won, which is through China, runs to the BRICS nations, because BRICS nations are Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. All these BRICS nations know how to trade without the United States petrodollar. And so this is starting to come up a bit, and as that begins to rise, eventually the petrodollar begins to fall. And other things that are coming out, the rest of the world knows this, but people over here don't know this, though, is that America is bankrupt. The news is not going to tell you this. They're not going to tell you this, that the United States is bankrupt, that Donald Trump, is not going to fix America. Okay, he's not telling the people that they're in bankruptcy. And even though you see it all the time, you hear it all the time, all of these companies filed for bankruptcy, and even the bigger bankruptcies to where they shut down businesses, such as Toys R Us, Sears, and Kmart. Kmart had already closed the stores here in Reading, and are closing stores all around the nation. So is Macy's as well. And, I could talk about others that did the same thing through these years. Radio Shack was another. And so, yeah, I get a lot of comments on some of the videos where I forwarded that information other brothers had. And what's interesting, though, is they think, oh, well, that's nothing. Businesses close all the time. It is something when you're talking about ones that have been around for years. It just, and because what is the image of America? That America is great, that it has the greatest economy, greatest industries and all that. Well, Sears, Kmart, and Toys R Us and all of them are part of its industries, its structure. So how has this place fallen from heaven, fallen from its grace, fallen from its power structure, slowly but surely? And, they can take it or leave it, The fact is I'm not even doing this for the so-called scoffers or, these other nations. I don't give a fuck about the other nations. They're the dung of the earth, The fact is, though, is that we're rising up. We're coming back to our nationality, we're going out there and teaching, to a world that, pretty much is ruled by wickedness, Israel's not in power, not the real one. You got them fake-ass Jews claiming to be pretty much, you got Amalek ruling, and they're the worst of Esau, Edom, because here it is, though, you'll see it all the time, whether it be wrestling and all that, these fat fucks, just run everything, They are so fucking rich, and they will not share it amongst their own. No, they don't share or distribute wealth. They only stay the greedy 1%, and everybody else is just a 99%er, a peasant, if you will, And so here it is. The economy's collapsing, been collapsing, but the news ain't going to tell you that. Donald Trump ain't going to tell you that, but, we here, we'll tell you what's going on, We look at the financial reports. We look at the global economic collapse. X22 report does excellent reviews about the global economic collapse, which globally, the U.S. dollar is devaluing, to the point that all it is IOUs. I mean, you're and the bills that used to be in your wallet, they are, in fact, reserve currency. In other words, at one time they were called silver certificates, but, they had pretty much removed that, but it was called the silver certificate. You hand that in, you get your silver dollars. So it was never, ever supposed to be the way of exchanging money. You were just holding on to that bill, and then you go to the bank and you get your silver dollars. That's what they were called, silver certificates. You were owed that. And that's all that the money system has ever been, but they are looking to end that and go digital, which is the RFID. But other things that are going on, food distribution centers and all that, what's going to happen and what's happening, and eventually it'll get to the point to where it won't just be small anymore. It has gotten a lot smaller. And it'll get to the point, though, that people have been waiting there for quite a while, and then they're going to find out that, well, their road didn't get called and all that, and they have to be turned away because all the food is gone. That's going to happen. That's going to start the riots, And it's just right around the corner. The big one is these tariffs put on China, and, of course, the retaliatory things that have been happening. These tariffs are going, because China has responded, and has put tariffs against that bitch America, the whore, Babylon the Great. So these fucking white people, these Edomites, are going to feel that, because what's going to happen is the prices are going to be too high. These food banks are already starting to run out of shit, to where, you're only getting like 2 cans and maybe 2 breads, and you'll be lucky if you could even fill your bag. You couldn't, at these food banks, So, of course, the poor, the low income, the 99%ers are going to feel that the most, while others are just going to not even notice this, because, well, they're not watchmen. They're not watching these things, so it's going to catch them unaware. You tell someone that they have to do without, they're going to flip the fuck out. That's going to cause riots. You already got the racial riots going on, but that's going to increase, More incidents are going to come up, You got people saying that, God chose white people, Caucasians, which Caucasian means cave dwellers, but yet the biblical scriptures say that they should dwell in the cliff rocks. So that's not talking about the Israelites. It's not talking about his chosen people. That's talking about Esau, Edom, shall dwell in the cliff rocks. And What they will not admit to is that their whole society is about to fall. And that's a good thing. Because when we see the fall of that society, when we see that America is no longer the leading bully that it used to be, that all these countries could stand up against America, Babylon the Great, then we know that it's just about time. It's on its last leg, and things are happening fast. This being the year of prophecy, we're going to see a whole lot more. So I hope this has been edifying, as we're reviewing things, and as I get more, financial reports, things like that, and we're paying attention to these things. We're just going to lift each other up the best that we can. So to that, until next time, Shalom and Brakatah.
به زمین نشاندن هواپیمای ما حیثیت ما استقلال ما فراهم کند گواه بر این مدعا این که از مصر یاران خمینی مصر رسالت‌های سال حمایت از کالای ایرانی گرامی باد همزمان با رژه شکوهمند یگانهای نظامی ارتش جمهوری اسلامی ایران در برای دفاع از ملت استقلال و سربلندی ایران است. مسئول قرارگاه پدافند هوایی همیشه بیدار قهرمان ارتش جمهوری اسلامی ایران از مقابل جایگاه هستیم. امروز وزارت دفاع و پشتیبانی نیروهای مسلح و دانشگاه‌ها
Tomorrow, Defense Secretary James Mattis will go to Capitol Hill and talk to the entire Senate about last week's airstrikes on Syria. Legislators from both parties have been asking, does President Trump have the authority? They want more details about what the administration strategy actually is in Syria. The president's decision to strike Syria has also angered many voters. As a candidate, President Trump really ran on a platform of avoiding international intervention. For more on this, we turn to Democratic strategist Dr. Susan Johnson Cook is with us tonight, and also Republican grassroots strategist Scotty Nell Hughes. Always great to have both of you with us. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Dr. Johnson, this has been labeled as mission accomplished. You've got two superpowers on the globe that say this shouldn't have happened. Both China, our number one trading partner, and also Russia, saying that, this was the wrong thing to do. So how is this mission accomplished on a global scale? Your thoughts on that tonight?
Well, as ambassador at large for international religious freedom, I had all 199 countries. And I know what's very important in international affairs is defining the mission. So we don't really clearly know what his mission was, so we can't say whether it was accomplished. We also know now that some of our own missiles were taken down and struck down. So is that an accomplishment? What's very important is not to just brief the Senate and the Congress after it happens, but to really have those conversations before. To move ahead of the game and to move without allies is very dangerous. We're in an international crisis, and you have to move strategically and with allies.
And do you think they did that? You think the Brits and the French on board involved in this is enough?
I don't think it's enough, particularly when the two big superpowers are not with us. Mm-hmm. I think you have to be able to walk together strategically, and so that clearly did not happen.
Let me journalistically point out, the Western media is reporting that all of the missiles got through. The Eastern media is reporting, no, there were some of them that were knocked down. May I say tonight to our audience, somebody's lying.
Somebody's lying.
Somebody in the middle of all of that is lying. Scotty, was this mission accomplished?
Well, we have to say that the mission was clearly defined, and it was in a response. It was a red line that the Obama administration drew in the sand that they never actually held the other side accountable to, and that was for the use of chemical weapons. Both times that President Trump has gotten involved within this area, it has been because there has been use of chemical weapons. And so the targets Friday night were the places that were making and manufacturing those chemical weapons, and our allies, which were Britain and France, which wouldn't necessarily do this just if this was a publicity or a cover-up stunt, went along with it, and I think it could be said very successful, and I would like to give credit to everyone because they actually responded properly and didn't blow this out to be anything bigger than what it was that night, and taking out the chemical weapons.
Nikki Haley goes to the UN and says locked and loaded. I guess we're going to hit them again if they do the wrong thing in their mind. But also, here come the sanctions, and then that's crosstalk with the administration. What does that tell you as a conservative and someone who supported Trump?
Well, let me say this. Anytime that I see children being gassed in their own streets, anytime that I do see chemical weapons being used and that violation happening to the people, regardless of whoever is the person that did
Scotty,
we do need to hold those folks accountable.
The question is, how can one day they say that Mnuchin's going to put sanctions on Russia, and the next day it's walked back? I mean, it undercuts the credibility of Nikki Haley at the UN, doesn't it?
Very much so. I think it undercuts the credibility totally. And then that's not what a strategy is. You don't say one thing one day and then do the opposite the other. I mean, and that's why so many, even Republicans, are walking away, because they're saying we can't stay on this path when we really don't know where we're going, what we're doing, and how we're going to do it.
Some of the use of chemical weapons should never be acceptable on any people, and we should make sure if we've already drawn that line in the sand, we have to hold our enemies accountable to that line.
Some of the Syrian people who are on the ground, and this is all over YouTube and the independent media, saying that Al-Qaeda was behind this and that the terrorist groups were behind this. It wasn't Assad. And
then we took out their machine. We took out the factories, Ed, that was making the chemical weapons. Those were our three main targets. We accomplished. It was mission accomplished. We took out those places. I
want to ask quickly, both of you. The Senate is going to get fully briefed tomorrow by Mattis, which is unusual. Normally, that really doesn't happen. Are they at a crossroads about whether the president can legally do this again, Dr. Johnson?
Very much so. I mean, there was the authorization for use of military force in 2001 when it was clearly Al-Qaeda and that particular instance. Now, it's not clear whether the president moved legally, and so we have to really redefine what that authorization means for this particular time.
Scotty, what about that?
Absolutely. I do think that in this case, just like what we saw in Benghazi, the president has the responsibility to go in and take action immediately, and it would take too long. Congress can't even pass a simple tax bill in time or a budget, much less actually defend children that are being gassed in their own streets.
Okay. Scotty Nell Hughes and Dr. Susan Johnson, nice to have both of you with us tonight. We'll do it again. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Russian foreign minister has rejected accusations that Moscow is tampering with evidence of an alleged chemical attack in the Syrian city of Duma. Sergei Lavrov noted that the evidence was based on media reports in the first place. Lavrov denied that any chemical attack had happened in Duma, stressing that the whole thing was staged. Earlier, the U.S. and Britain accused Russia of preventing inspectors from reaching the site of the alleged attack. This comes as a team of experts from the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons is yet to begin its field work in Duma. The OPCW has held a closed-door meeting in its headquarters at The Hague over the issue. Our correspondent in Duma tells us more about the OPCW team's visit to the area of the alleged gassing incident.
I am inside Duma, exactly at the square that the residents here call the Martyrs Square, which you can see just behind me. This is where terrorists of Jaish al-Islam claimed that there was a chemical attack over here inside Duma, near this square. Particularly inside this building, the terrorists claimed that the Syrian army attacked this particular building with chemical substances that you can see now in the picture over here. However, up till now, I spoke with some of the residents, civilians, and they told me that there were no signs of any chemical substances and there were no chemical attack over here. Also, you can see over here, this is one of the buildings, the residential buildings around the area where an alleged chemical attack happened. You can see the residents who are inside their apartments normally living their lives. despite, of course, the damage in the area. They are actually inside their apartments, and if there was a chemical attack, they told me they wouldn't have been able to stay inside their apartments. They would have been affected by this so-called chemical attack. So far, the latest information say that the chemical team, the chemical experts team from the OPCW is actually on standby, but still did not yet arrive at this location where the chemical attack happened, according to those terrorists of Jaish al-Islam.
The medical personnel who have been working in a hospital in Douma deny reports that a gas attack occurred in the Syrian city on April 7. According to a doctor who spoke with Press TV, people whom they treated at the hospital did not show any symptoms of a chemical agent.
On April 7, some wounded people were admitted to the hospital and we referred them to the surgery ward. There were some with respiratory problems, but after medical exams and blood tests, it turned out that their breathing problems had been caused by inhaling dust after airstrikes, but not for inhaling chemical agents. So we treated them as usual. There were no people showing symptoms of a chemical attack, but as word spread that such an attack had happened, many people thought that they had been gassed. We can't verify the identity of those who spread those rumors, but some people told us that they were the members of the so-called White Helmets group.
It's the Real News Network. I'm Sharmini Puris coming to you from Baltimore. Stock prices of major defense contractors such as Northrop, Grumman, Raytheon, and Boeing have surged by double-digit percentages recently. The reasons vary, but Raytheon manufactures the Tomahawk cruise missile that were used last Friday in attacking Syria.
NATO intelligence reports indicate the threat of ballistic missiles is increasing in number and complexity. By 2018, all of Europe will be at risk. Raytheon's integrated air and missile defense assets continue to watch the skies, day and night, keeping the U.S. and allies safe around the world.
U.S. and allies safe across the world, except the Syrians. Now, joining me to analyze the relationship between defense stocks and U.S. military activity is Bill Black. Bill is a white-collar criminologist, a former financial regulator, and associate professor of economics and law at the University of Missouri, Kansas City. He's the author of The Best Way to Rob a Bank is to Own One. Thanks for joining us, Bill.
Thank you.
Bill, last year, Fortune magazine calculated that defense contractors and companies, their share prices rose by as much as $5 billion after Trump launched his attack on the Syrian airbase. This year, the numbers are similar, no doubt. What do you make of this link between military activity and the rise in defense stock prices?
Well, it's pretty well established. In fact, the first big one involving Raytheon, and Raytheon is the principal manufacturer of the Tomahawk cruise missiles that were used primarily in the 2017 strike and the strike last week in Syria. But those would have been the method that President Obama would have used as well. And so in 2013, when he was threatening to do a strike on Syria, Raytheon's stock price surged simply from discussion of the possibility of use. And of course, several things are going on at the same time. One, once you shoot them, you need to buy new ones. And they're very expensive. They're, ballpark $1.5 million, the advanced Tomahawk, over $1.5 million pounds. So, somewhere around 1.8 million bucks per missile. But there's the demonstration effect that they work, that they're able to penetrate defenses, and that they actually hit the targets. that you aim at with a vastly higher probability than in the past when people shot missiles. And so those two things combine, of course, to have people go, whoa, this is great. We should be buying those as well. And particularly in the American context, when we attacked Syria decades ago, in response to some of the things happening in Lebanon attacking the United States there. We had planes shot down, and we had pilots killed and other pilots captured by the Syrian military, and it was a huge diplomatic problem. And cruise missiles, of course, don't have that effect. They are launched from frequently hundreds of miles away, well outside the range of any ability to shoot down, whether they're launched as they were largely in this latest raid by B-1 Lancers, which are a huge ability to carry, and they can fire from standoff ranges of 100 miles or more. Or from frigates or submarines, or in the case of the Brits, their Tornado attack planes, again, are launching the missiles from far outside any ability of the Syrian defenses to be able to shoot down the plane that is launching those missiles. So they're safe, and also there is clearly built enthusiasm. The public in the United States tends to like them. Politicians that launch them praise themselves, and they praise the military, and they talk about, great, we should have, isn't it wonderful that we've created a massive increase in the budget for these kinds of things? So it feeds on itself. For all those reasons, we expect to see stock prices go up. Now, of course, Raytheon stock has been going up for some considerable time, given the things we've just talked about, the huge surge in the budget that everybody knew was going to lead to a significant rise in expenditures with Raytheon, both because of the cruise missiles, which are an offensive weapon, but also because Raytheon makes a lot of the critical defensive missiles against ballistic missile strikes. And of course, that's been teed up, if you're familiar with the United States, to an enormous degree by the purported or real threat from North Korea to be able to have ballistic missile launches that would have the range to actually reach the United States. Well, the missiles that would potentially knock down those North Korean ballistic missiles, those defensive missiles, Raytheon is also one of the leading manufacturers of those systems. So all of these things are coming together, and it's been a spectacular month so far for Raytheon, and one hell of a year and in one hell of a decade. So yes, their stock prices are trading at all-time records that have never been seen.
All right, Bill, General Mattis is a respectable general, very reputable in the military. He's obviously aware that the decisions that the U.S. military takes and the kinds of weaponry it uses has this kind of an impact in the marketplace in terms of boosting the commercial value of these companies that are producing these. Do you think that's factored in at all in terms of decision making?
Certainly not by Mattis. Certainly there are lobbyists and such that love the prospect. But if you see it from the perspective of the military, what you need to recall is that until relatively recently, when you drop bombs, what you did overwhelmingly was miss. Right? So there were bridges we attempted to bomb in Vietnam and such, where we would send strike package after strike package. We would lose all kinds of multi-million-dollar jets and their pilots and naval aviators and such. And we would occasionally, out of literally hundreds of bombs dropped, damage a span of the bridge, and the bridge was back in operation almost always within 24 hours. So it was terrible, right? The Air Force and the Navy always overpromised in terms of what they could deliver. They could typically not hit the things they tried to hit, and it was really expensive in the sense of people knew where to put the defenses, the anti-aircraft batteries and the anti-aircraft missiles. It was fairly clear where we would have to come in many cases, and they could site them optimally. And we had very severe losses, both in terms of money and more important terms of people. So it was horrible from the standpoint of the military. And then finally, they got weapons in which they could not only hit, but they could typically hit the thing they wanted to hit with a single missile strike. That's like astonishing change. And better yet, you could launch this missile, as I said, from way outside the range at which the platform, the plane, the frigate, the submarine launching the missile could be attacked itself. And so that has allowed the military to be able to do these kinds of engagements where they were otherwise really quite afraid to do so, because we would have a significant probability in the old days that we would A, miss the target, B, have some of our planes shot down, and C, have some of our pilots or naval aviators captured, which in the United States context, because of politics, is a particularly huge problem in terms of constraints. So that's what freed up the United States military, Raytheon, in considerable part, to be able to do these things. And it's not just those missiles, the air-to-air missiles. In the Vietnam War, those missiles were fairly primitive, and they missed most of the time, and worse, again, the Air Force had overpromised, and they said, oh, these missiles are the air-to-air missiles. We're going to shoot down the enemy jets just so easily, we won't even put a gun on the Phantom. We'll just have missiles. Well, that's particularly terrible if your missiles don't work. But now the air-to-air missiles are vastly more capable. And again, it's companies like Raytheon that have made those missiles work, and the United States and its allies. This is why Israel, we're talking about 20 plus years ago, was able to shoot down something like 52 Syrian jet fighters at the loss of 0 Israeli fighters, because you had their version of AWACS, which we gave them, the large civilian-ish plane, or it's a military plane, but unarmed, that orbits with superb radars. You find literally the Syrian jets as they're taking off from the airport, and you engage them with really good missiles, again, outside their envelope of where they can fight back. So, no, the military loves companies like Raytheon. These generals that you're talking about are old enough that they came up in the era when the missiles didn't work, when the bombs didn't work, and it was terrible. And it's like a miracle transformation from their standpoint, and it saves all kinds of lives. John McCain would not have been shot down and imprisoned if he was launching a standoff modern cruise missile.
All right, Bill, much more to talk about, but we'll wait for next week. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us here on the Real News Network.
First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who are teaching this truth and sincerity. B'Hashem Rakal Kadash. And a shout out to all you out there, you fellow Akim that's out there proclaiming this truth, risking your lives to do so. And so What's happening now, and I'm surprised that others aren't reporting on this, is that the Israeli state in Levant, ISIL, Israeli state, Amalek, has just attacked Syria again. Explosions have been heard over Aleppo and over Homs province, so we know that the mainstream is not going to tell you about this, but the Israeli state has bombed Syria again. So we know this war is going to escalate, as I've been updating y'all on a lot of things that others have been reporting on. That well, we know that there'll never be a peace deal between North and South Korea, even though North and South Korea want to unite. It'll never be there because the West, the United Socialist States, Babylon the Great, controls South Korea. So they can never come to an agreement anyways. So it's a false peace deal. Because really what's happened is everybody's gearing up for World War III. And Vladimir Putin has officially announced for his people, the Russians, to prepare for World War III. That's official. So pretty much this thing is escalating. So that means, though, that the collapse, we're going to see that. And I've been reporting on this collapse for the last few days, as other brothers have as well, that we're seeing that. That it follows a suit of sequences. Collapse, then there's rioting, because when you got nothing, that people are going to riot. They just can't take it that they're going to do without. And then you'll have the mark of the beast coming out when this whole place goes under martial law. It'll be the mark of the beast. That's the only way you can buy, sell, or trade. Say you have the mark. And then finally the nuclear attack, which will be EMP, the nuclear devastation. They're not going to announce that they're going to attack. No. This will be done in the sequence of an EMP. And in 1 hour, America, Babylon the Great, will be destroyed. But that is the hope of our salvation, to be delivered out of this fucking place. But make no mistake about it, Amalek, the Israeli state, has struck Syria. And if I get any more on this, I will forward it to you. This is just a quick update. So I hope this has been edifying, and like everything else, stay watching, Subscribe to those RT feeds and other feeds if you can get them, and we'll try to share them among our brethren. Shalom.
Hey everybody, I'm Chad Booksam with Alternative Media Television. An Iranian naval commander threatens to sink U.S. ships, create catastrophic situation if Donald Trump kills deal. So, Iranian naval commander came out and said this because we have a situation where, you guys noticed Emmanuel Macron from France was here in the country trying to talk Donald Trump into staying in the Iranian nuclear deal that was set up by Obama and his Secretary of State, John Kerry. Now, we know, even from Donald Trump's campaigning, that he wanted to either renegotiate the deal or pull out of it completely. Now, what we're hearing is reports coming out that he might renegotiate the deal. But we're going to see what's going to occur. But at the end of the day, this is a dangerous situation happening in the Middle East that people need to understand, because you're not going to hear it anywhere. You're not going to hear it in the mainstream media. So what we have is this. We have Benjamin Netanyahu, okay, and we have a new Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, both rabid Iran hawks. They want to end this regime. End the Iranian government, right? We've seen this. We've heard him say this over and over again. So Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has just been confirmed, and we see this rolling with the Iranian nuclear deal. This is going to be very important. And what is Iran going to do? Because we have Russia confirming their new, I believe it's called the S-300 advanced missile defense system in Syria. Israel is telling Donald Trump, Benjamin Netanyahu is telling Donald Trump that, and they stated this a long time ago, that if they ever brought in these missile defense systems, that they are going to strike them before they are on air, before they are hooked up, before they are set up. So you have the Israeli military basically preparing to strike Russian installations. You have a situation where obviously Iranian warships and obviously a lot of Iranian Revolutionary Guards are in Syria. Israel has been striking them. And you have a situation where Donald Trump's saying that he might pull out of the Iranian nuclear deal. Now, Iran stated that they will pull out of the nuclear proliferation treaty that can, kind of says, you can only basically create so much uranium, or you can only proliferate so much nuclear technology in the country, and basically restarting their nuclear weapons program. So this is what's occurring, and if Donald Trump does pull out completely, again, you have Iranian commanders threatening catastrophic events. Now, with Russia, it's very important because I discussed this a little bit previously in the live show, and if you didn't get to see it, click the link below, join us on AMTV on demand so you can watch it. We have so much content, most of it is going there. But Russia, okay, is in a situation where a Russian-friendly prime minister in Armenia has just resigned because there were these massive protests pretty much set up by the dark state. You know, these color revolutions that happened like in the eastern Ukraine, right? In Ukraine, we saw this, the same thing happened, okay, where these dark state, deep state operations occurred, fake revolutions, and then the Russian-friendly prime minister or leader had to resign or was forced to resign. Same thing that's happened in Armenia. Now, what is Russia going to do? This is a very dangerous situation. You have actually Israel sending weapons to countries around Armenia as well. I forgot the name of the specific country, Azerbaijan, I think that's how you pronounce it, who has military equipment, advanced military equipment coming in from Israel, and now Russia is very worried and concerned about its southern flank. They want to protect their southern flank. Armenia is key to that, and are they going to do the same thing that they did in Ukraine and in Crimea, even though obviously there were a lot of Russians there who wanted to be part of the Russian Federation? This is the instability that's all around the world. I know that you don't see it here in this country. All we're hearing about is Kanye West and all this crap, right? But this is the situation that we have to deal with. Keep an eye on Mike Pompeo and keep an eye on the Iranian nuclear deal. What is Donald Trump going to do? It might set off like a wildfire throughout the Middle East. We already see the embassy in Jerusalem is moving, I believe, May 18th. This is going to cause, a lot of riots and stuff in the Middle East. All around this, all this is happening while Israel is continuing to strike Syria, while the Bashar al-Assad government is going on an advance into the Homs province to completely take it over. So this is absolutely a lot of instability. Now,
and I always ask myself, man, when you get them demons in your mind of selfishness and greed, those are demons, man. That's what this world's about. But that's not what the disciples were about, man. You gotta be willing to sacrifice. Feed the poor, man. That's a sacrifice, man. Spiritual powers to feed the poor, to heal the sick. And every time the Lord healed, you best believe, he felt their pain, man. He was compassionate towards the people. He fed the multitude of 5,000, fed the multitude of 7,000, healing the sick. He bared our sins, man. That's what it is to get down and dirty, to really bear somebody's sins, man. That's what he did for the whole nation. When you sit down with someone, and like when you counsel, right? Because that's what we are, we're counselors. When you counsel, people call you up for counseling. When they tell you their problems, that wears your spirit down, man. That wears your spirit down. Anytime somebody bears the pain that they've been through in their life, that wears your spirit down, man. That breaks you down, man. Hearing somebody going through all types of hell growing up, man. Hearing men talking about when they was young how they got molested, man. Women too, man. Their uncles, their fathers molested them, man. That brings you out. That brings you down to tears, man. If somebody with someone, and they find out that they trusted or whatever, and they find out they get caught, they have an STD, man, and they trusted this person. What the fuck does that do to your spirit? That breaks you down, man. That should bring you to tears, man. This thing's about sacrifice, man. If you're not sacrificing, you ain't fucking right, man. You're just a nigga quoting scriptures. Look, this is the information era. The truth is out. The elders broke down the scriptures. You got Google. It ain't much to break down scriptures. Go on YouTube. Go on Google, man. But it's your heart, your mind. Where the fuck is your mind at? Where's your heart at, man? And that's one thing that I've learned. And I'm still learning, man. I just started learning that recently. I was never taught that with Yahweh Shai, man. How to be Yahweh Shai. How to actually be Yahweh Shai, man. And actually know what he felt. I can only imagine what was in his mind, man. That was a great man. That is a great man. And through his inspiration, not no fucking Tupac or Malcolm X, through the stories of Yahweh Shah and what he did, that's what makes us do what we do, man. And Lord willing, we endure to the end, like he did. He was for his people, that we gotta be for our people, man. We can't forget the mission, man. We are the Lord's disciples, and that's what we follow Yahweh Shah, man. Follow his walks, his stories, man, and what he went through, what he did while he was on this earth 2,000 years ago. And boy, let me tell you, man, when you really start meditating and really start reading the scriptures and actually you start seeing it, man, like, wow, this man was powerful, man. This was a powerful man, and he deserves to get what he's gonna get. It's the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Humility, man. Did not want to be exalted. Was feeding the sheep unto death. Wipe the 12 disciples' feet. This is the master. Wipe the 12 disciples' feet. Knew a man in his circle was going to betray him and still blessed them, man. And it tells you that in Luke 6 chapter. Bless those that curse you. They shall be great in the kingdom. How many of us are willing to do that? You know? Peter denied him. He knew Peter was going to deny him. That's the top dude. The top disciple. Thing to say, what have you sacrificed lately, man? And if you don't have that spirit to sacrifice anything, you should not be a leader. You shouldn't be in this thing, period, man.
Alright, Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Alright, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Alright, double honors to the elders, apostles, great millstone. Salutations to you hopeful elect, you Akim out there that preach the truth of Yahweh Shai around the four corners. Alright, you learners and believers of the word, you sincere sisters. Alright. You know, it's gonna be you know, precepts. Alright, just, you know, getting in the spirit. Alright, for, you know, just some precepts for these last times. Alright, because the vibrations out there real strong. The things that are going on with this whole Syria and America, Russia, Iran, Israel thing going on. Right, the military, like the scripture says, you shall hear wars and rumors of wars, and that's increasing and it's getting stronger and stronger. All right, so, you know, when it says peace and safety, then sudden destruction. All right, it's the time to die and the time to live, time to kill. Okay, time to live, time, or you know, so on and so forth. How the scriptures go, there's a lot of balances going on. You know what I mean? But the end is coming, you know what I'm saying? Like the brothers in LA said, it's like a big puzzle piece. All the pieces are laid out perfectly. All you gotta do is put them together. That's what we're waiting on. Alright, but I'm just gonna be in the spirit of, you know, how as men, or, you know, as fellow laborers in this word, just some precepts that motivates us to stay on fire, or to keep a equal balance, you know what I'm saying? Because with much wisdom comes a lot of grief, a lot of sorrow, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of guys kind of, it's alright to just relax a little, not really relax, but just take a breath, alright, and have a balance. Don't bug yourself out in this knowledge, you know what I'm saying? You know, study, do sit downs, do live streams with brothers, charity, camp, then find some way to meditate and just stay on your watch, you know what I'm saying? We just gotta sit back and let the Most High do his thing. Alright? This is Sirach 4:28. Strive for the truth unto death. It says strive for the truth until death, and the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shai shall fight for thee. Alright, that's how passionate, that's how focused we gotta be in this truth. But at the same time, you know, that's why this truth is such, it's bittersweet and it's grievous, you know what I'm saying? With much wisdom cometh a lot of sorrow, and I'm trying to find that precept. Alright. Let's see. Right here, that's the spirit. This is Ecclesiastes 1:18. it says, for in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. All right. But guess what? You know, the Lord is going to fight for us at the end of the day, man. So it's not a bad thing, you know what I'm saying? But we got to be able to have a balance, you know what I'm saying? Everything is a balance. And having this knowledge, man, a lot of people are going to really, you know, want this, because the multitudes of people don't have this knowledge. You know, they walk by our people and don't hear this word, but, you know, thy people shall be willing in the day of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? So it's important to hold on and hold fast what you already have, like it says in Revelations, right? All right, because don't let no man take your crown. All right, we're at the very end of this thing, and we have a time limit. All right, the clock is ticking. You know what I'm saying? And we can't sit there and get feeble and weak and fall out and bug out. You know what I'm saying? We just gotta hold on to the knowledge, you know. This is Sirach 3:20. It says, for the power of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is great, and he is honored of the lowly. Okay, so again, Ecclesiastes 1:18. For in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increase of sorrow. That's why the Most High is great in power and honoreth the lowly. You know what I'm saying? Because he knows what we're going through. And that's why we have to give our bodies to be a living sacrifice and acceptable unto the Most High. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? This test, man, just because you have this knowledge and wisdom doesn't mean that you're going to make it. Because the Most High will spew guys out, all right, for examples, you know. And the thing is, we're not gonna know when we pass the test until we get put to death, or until we make it into those chariots, because the Most High will try you and to see if you're worthy or not. Okay, this is just practicing the righteous acts, but you have to have confidence that you are the elect. You know what I'm saying? You know, this the Lord, man. You know, but hey, that's how we are during this time, lowly. Our spirit gets lowly. This is a heavy workload to carry, having this truth, which is important. But at the same time, man, you know, brothers got jobs, we have bills, we have responsibilities, we have families, and we have to do what we can with that, put that over to the side, and make sure this is number one. So, because at the end of the day, none of those things are gonna matter on that day. You know what I'm saying? All right, all the things of this life. You know what I'm saying? Real quick. Romans 13 and what is it? Romans 13 and 11. Or no, what was it? No, it's Timothy's. Like it. This is 2 Timothy's 2 and 3. It says, thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua HaMashiach. It says, verse 4, no man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life. Alright, we don't get caught up in the things of this life. We take care of them swiftly, you know, with an ease. Even though it's stressful, it makes us tired in the flesh, but in the spirit, you know, this is what we have to deal with, and it's going to pay off at the end. You know what I'm saying? It's very much, you know, it's very much, can I say, it's worth it. You know what I'm saying? It's eternal. Righteousness is eternal. You know what I'm saying? But the things of this life, it's going to pass away. So that's why, you know, if you're in the rut, man, that's why faith is the things, is the substance not seen. That's why faith is such a big gift compared to a physical one, you know? That's why we don't entangle or war with, you know, the things of this life. You know what I'm saying? 2 Timothy 2 and 3. Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua Hamashiach. No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who hath chosen him to be a soldier. Okay? We have to make our calling of election sure too. Alright? Doing whatever we can to know, on that day, man, we gotta keep that spirit on us until that day. Okay? And it's hard in this flesh. But, that's why praying, fasting, doing whatever we can is important, for the spirit. That's why it's important to pray. If you stop praying, man, demons are going to get stronger and fuck you up, And this is a lesson for me, too. I'm not some, hoorah, all perfect person. You know what I'm saying? I'm no better than anybody. I always judge myself before others. You know what I'm saying? But we got to make sure our spirit's right, man. Because, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, and the fear of the Lord, that's why all the angels encampeth around him that fear the Lord, roughly paraphrasing. You know what I'm saying? Because, judgment goes on every single day. You got brothers that even died in this truth. But guess what? For example, the brother in Chicago, he died, but brothers believe he may be the elect. He could be waiting on us. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? Death is better than this life. Living here in hell, Babylon. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to watch so-called TV or movies if it's a spiritual aspect to it. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with using the world and not being of it. It's nothing wrong with listening to the music, the shitty music you used to listen to back in the world, as long as you don't think like that to do it. But, just try to, it's like, what can I say? I don't know. It's like living in the water, having a boat. Or what can I say? How is this world? It's like you're not a sea animal, but you can go into the water with the animals that belong in the sea. You're a different type of animal, different type of breed. You know what I'm saying? If that makes any sense. I'm trying to make something that makes sense. But just being in the world, sometimes you gotta blend in. You know what I'm saying? Some people are belong in the world, adapt to the world. Like these heathens, for example, especially Esau, because this is his kingdom. But us, we have something eternal, But we just trying to wait on, what's on the other side, man. So that's why we don't war with the flesh and the things of this life, But let me see. Sirach 3 and 20 again. For the power of the Lord is great, and he honoreth the lowly, right? Because that's what happens to you when you're in this truth. You're alone in this truth, but you have a brotherhood, but you have to, it's much harder when you're by yourself. You gotta deal with Satan, you gotta deal with spirits, principalities. Okay, like it says in Philippians, you gotta put on all the helmet, you gotta put on the breastplate, the feet shod, okay, have the two-edged sword, okay, roughly paraphrasing, you know what I'm saying? You gotta put on all that armor, which is these scriptures, having that spirit on you, Psalms 147, right? 147 and 2. The Lord doth build up Jerusalem. He gathereth together the outcast of Israel. Okay, because us men of the Lord, we don't fit in with the world, like I was just trying to metaphorically, explain. We don't fit in with the world. We don't fit in with the world. We're around the world. We don't fit in. Okay. Our puzzle piece doesn't fit to the, to this, puzzle of, whatever this damn world, Babylon, America, doesn't fit here. It belongs in the heavens. Okay. Which is going to be established on earth. Okay. Building up Jerusalem. All right. James 2 and 5, right? James 2 and 5. James 2 and 5, it says, "Hearken, my beloved brethren, have not Yahweh chosen the poor of this world, rich in faith?" All right. So we're the poor of this world, which this world is wicked. But guess what? Like I said, the kingdom that's going to be built up, that's eternal. Okay, we don't fit into this world. We fit into the one that's coming next, which is this world is made for many, and the next world for few. Roughly paraphrasing, like it says in the Apocrypha. All right. The Most High, that faith is a gift. You know what I'm saying? We're rich in faith. All right, because Esau is such a devil, man. He consumes everything. He gives you things and consumes you with what you. People live and die by drugs, money, and so on and so forth. Esau turns his whole life, this whole life is synthetic because how Esau is, man. But guess what? The kingdom to come in the world that's next, man, it's going to be everlasting. You know what I'm saying? That's that rich in faith. And we have that faith in that. You know what I'm saying? That's why we're waiting on the Lord. All right. James 2 and 5, "Hearken, my beloved brethren, have not the Most High chosen the poor of this world rich in faith, and hearers of the kingdom, which he hath promised to them that love him." All right. So you love the Lord, feed his sheep. So you're doing this work. You're learning how to do this work. Okay, doing the work, and then you have brothers that are learning how to do the work, so you can prepare yourself to go out and do the work. All right. We multiply. You know what I'm saying? All right. That's Jerusalem being built up because the Lord's tabernacle is with his men. All right. All right, what else I got? I got Revelations 2 and 10. Okay. Revelations 2 and 10. All right, because guess what? The times that we're in, this devil, okay, he's going to do everything he can to jack us up, man. The time to come. The trials and tribulation, that's our biggest test. To pass that portion of this test. All right, that's the main objective in this mission, is to pass the trials and tribulation to see if you're worthy. All right, for many are called and few are chosen. Okay, because just because you're in this truth and doing the work and whatnot, you gotta make sure you last until the end, by death, being a martyr, or making it on them damn chariots, man. Them beautiful chariots, them spiritual chariots. Looking for one or the other. You know what I'm saying? Or the Most High may give you spiritual powers, who knows? But we gotta make sure we last till the end. Alright? Revelations 2 and 10. "Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer." Remember remember Romans? Or 2 Timothy's, right? Let me get that precept lined up. Select. Right. I'm gonna read 2 Timothy's again, just for the spirit. 2 Timothy's 2 and 3. "Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua HaMashiach." Right. Revelations 2 and 10. "Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful until death, and I will give thee a crown of life." Okay. So 2 Timothy's 2 and 3. Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua HaMashiach. No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life. All right, because guess what? The affairs of this life is going to pass away, and it's not going to be compared to the trials and tribulation 10 days. Okay, which thou shalt suffer. FEMA camps, martial law, race wars, famines, pestilence, okay, this World War III, the draft, so on and so forth, the economical collapse, the chip, okay, the beast roaming this earth, Leviathan, whatever, hey, whatever, this destruction, okay, destruction, all right, the day of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? okay? Because the shit we go through now ain't compared to what's, you know, a part of this test, okay? At the end, you know. This is Revelations 3 and 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, doing this work, staying in the spirit till death, it says, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. And that's not just talking about the chip. It's talking about everything. This destruction. Everything. Okay? Everything that's prophesied here in the scriptures. Okay? All over the scriptures. Alright? That's everything. Now the chip is a big portion of it, which is part of it, but it's talking about everything. Alright? Tribulation. Okay? Let me almost wrap this up. Let me see. 2 Timothy's 2, and let me see, I already got that. Let me go to Romans 12. Alright, Romans 12, and I'm start at 1. It says, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Yahweh, that ye present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto Yahweh, which is your reasonable service. Because we're brought with a price, okay? And our righteousness is as filthy rags. So us getting put to death honorably and righteously, you can't complain, okay? Because you're gonna get a reward for that. Why not die for the Lord? The Lord died for us, and he did it for his own sins and his own salvation, but he did it for us too, to be joint heirs. So why not? Okay? So death is actually beautiful, and we never die, we translate. Okay? Alright? That's a big reward for that. But say you don't get put to death, some of you shall not see death. And that makes you even more confident. Shit, death is one accomplishment. Say if you don't die, it's even bigger. Get spiritual power, you get on the chariots. Okay, whatever it may be. You know, the Most High is beautiful, man. Shit, even the 2/3 are going to be in their right mind and get the kingdom. But you don't want to be the wicked, be the 2/3, you know? So we got to, you know, present ourselves, you know, to the Most High, okay? Let me go back to this precept, though. Hold up. Got a precept going on. This is 2 Timothy's 2 and 5. And if a man also strive for the masteries, yet he is not crowned except he strive lawfully. Okay? So don't be faint-hearted. Okay? Strive lawfully. Okay? Staying in the spirit. Alright? Taking whatever the Most High puts in front of you. That's lawful. Okay? Alright? It says, verse 6, the husbandman that laboreth must be first partakers of the fruits. Consider what I say, and the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, give thee understanding in all things. Okay, so your situation, what the Lord puts in front of you, you have to understand that. Be able to, because the Most High won't put something in front of you that you can't handle. You know what I'm saying? And I had a scripture on that. Let me see if I can find it. 10:31. Is that 10:31? 10:31. First or second? Let me see. Second. Uh. 10:21. I don't know if I can find it, but basically, just roughly paraphrasing, you know, the Most High, He's gonna take care of us, man. We just gotta stay faithful, man. All right, where was I at? Romans 12 and 2. And he Salakian says, and be not conformed to this world, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Yahweh. For I say, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according as the Most High have dealt to every man the measure of faith. Right? So that's being humble, being meek, being lowly. You know, carrying on in this truth, no matter how hard it gets. You know, what's that word? Having much sorrow and grief. Okay, keeping your patience and faith, man. The Most High, hey, keeping your patience and faith till the very end, if it may be death, the trials and tribulation, whatever it is, even just death itself, okay? Or keep fighting till the end. The Most High is going to deliver you out of things, you know? We just got to, you know, keep that spirit and keep that food for thought, you know? All right? Just basically keep that faith up. Keep praying, okay, and doing other things that has something to do with the spirit. You know, that's good for what's going on, all right, in these last times. Because you hear they got troops at the border, all right, and whatnot. You know, a lot of brothers are talking about the whole thing with America and Syria, Iran, Russia, China, okay, China flexing their military might. That's exciting, okay? We're almost at the end of this shit, okay? We might have one more year, and I'm not gonna say that. I'm just saying, just measure thou the times diligently. 2nd Esdras 9:1, okay? I really hope it happens tomorrow, okay? Shit, judgment just happened right in front of where I live, a shooting. So the Most High is stirring up spirits. I seen a dude walking outside by my job with a sword, and out in the open and shit. Death angels around and shit. Some crazy shit, bugged out shit going on in society. Okay? The Most High is about to tear shit up, man. But just keep yourself in check. Alright? Nobody's perfect. Alright? You know, but hey, that's it. That's all I got, man. Until the next lesson. Alright, Barakatah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, the water Yah, Arash Allah, Barakatah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, double honors to the elders, Apostle Great Millstones, and salutations to you hopeful elect. Alright, you brothers and sisters, stay in the spirit. Alright, Shalom and death to America.
First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. B'Hashem Rakal Kadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who teach this truth and sincerity, and shout out to Akim that's going out there on the streets proclaiming this truth and risking your lives to do so, as we know that the Israeli state has struck Syria again, and Benjamin Notajew is about to make a speech because he is furthering his terrorism against Iran. If you hadn't caught the WWE Greatest Royal Rumble event over the weekend, well, in that one it shows Saudi Arabia and these new wrestlers. It was a scene, and you know that wrestling often plays politics, because even you heard Randy Savage talk about how they were going to bring down the Twin Towers back in the 80s. And when the Twin Towers shall come crashing down, you know. So we know that they play politics, you know, because Esau puts hints in there. So Israeli state is going to use Saudi Arabia directly to come against Iran, you know, which is Persia, which is the whole reason for the whole war on Yemen to begin with. Because we know that Iran, Persia, you know, is kind of, you know, trying to bring peace to the Middle East, but the Israeli state, Amalek, cannot have that. So the Israeli state has struck Syria, and in fact, I showed in the prior video the structural damage, which is right there. You can get the pictures right there off of, I think RT has it, but if not, though, I showed you the pictures of the actual structural damage caused by the Zionists who call themselves Jews, and these were F-35 jets that had flown into Syria undetected, because Israeli state often brags about how they were able to fly into Iran undetected. An Israeli state, Amalek, has always put that out there, that they could do whatever they want at any time and no one could stop us. That, hey, Russia can threaten United States, but Israeli state can do whatever it wants to. There's no limit on strikes or anything. So they're going to continue to escalate this, and the least of their flock shall draw them out, and we can see that happening. So I'm going to continue in Joel chapter 3, as we know that it's talking about this, and starting in verse 12. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is where, right there in Syria, in Iran, and all that area. For there I will sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full. The vats overflow, for the wickedness is great. And pretty much this is where he's judging all of those outside Israel, but especially Amalek, those fake-ass fucking Jews. Put ye in the sickle for her... Oh, wait, I already read that. Multitudes, multitudes, in the valley of decision. For the day of Yahweh is near, in the valley of decision. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. Thus, this is going to end up in a huge plume of smoke. That's talking about that thermonuclear war, because this thing will go nuclear. It'll start with Damascus being destroyed by the Israeli state, and then you can best believe EMP, and then Babylon the Great, America destroyed in 1 hour. 200 million nuclear missiles will go off. The Lord shall also roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem. This is happening now. That's why we're coming out on the streets and teaching. This is the Lord himself uttering his voice. And the heavens and the earth shall shake, but the Lord will be the hope of his people. And we're telling you, the hope of our people is that you repent, come now back to Yahweh Shai. Back to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And stop partaking in all these wicked festivities. Come back to being Israelites. And the strength of the children of Israel. For you shall know that I am the Lord your God, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. And that's representative of the elect of 1/3. Because we are that holy mountain, Those of us that are keeping the commandments, but also coming out and teaching, prophesying. They shall, Jerusalem, be holy. There shall no strangers pass through her anymore. Because the strangers that are in there now are all these heathens, So we're going to reclaim that, from these terrorists, because that's what they are, Esau's the greatest of these terrorists, and we know that Amalek, well, believe it or not, Israeli state, ISIS, just did another attack in Pakistan, so you'll be hearing about that. It's either Pakistan or Afghanistan killing some people, to make you believe that the ISIS group exists, when we know that it's the Israeli Secret Intelligence Services that does these operations. Mossad, if you will. And shall come to pass in that day that the mountains shall drop down new wine, and the hills shall flow with milk, and all the rivers of Judah shall flow with waters, and a fountain shall come forth out of the house of Yahweh, and shall water the valley of Shittim, which basically means, though, that, we're restored. We've returned back and reclaimed our heritage from these heathens. Egypt shall be a desolation. That's talking about America. And Edom shall be desolate wilderness for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. That's talking about America, Babylon the Great. But Judah shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation. That's talking about the northern and southern kingdom. All 12 tribes who are coming back now. The 144,000, if you will. For I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed, for the Lord dwelleth in Zion. So basically what's happening now is that in this valley decision, the valley of Yehoshaphat, is all happening now. You know, Benjamin Notajew is going to be delivering his fucking message, and basically it's going to further bring out this war against Persia, you know, which is pretty much going to lead to the entire World War III. So this is pretty exciting times, as this has been the year of prophecy. We haven't even hit into it yet, but we're just barely getting into May. So I hope this has been edifying, and shalom, and as I get more alerts, I will forward that information. Shalom.
Gonna get more intense, man. Keep going.
Verse 8, shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau?
Yeah, and you elites, man, you don't know what's going on either. Because everything's not going according to the plans, man. Satan's telling you to do one thing, you do this, your plan is going to prosper, and then the opposite is happening, man.
Sorry, I'm alright.
Alright? So you bugging out too. That's the reason why you're having all these summits, okay? You're having all these meetings, okay? You're doing all these seances. It ain't working for you, man. Why? Because the deity that you worship, Baphomet, he works for the Heavenly Father, man. Alright, you getting played, Esau. And there's no way you can stop the prophecies from coming to pass, man. America's going to be destroyed from off the face of the earth.
That's right.
Alright? Keep going.
Verse 9, and thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed.
And thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed. Keep going.
To the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter.
Yeah, so how you gonna get around that? Alright, you got bugged out niggas still to this day that believe that Esau's gonna make it, man. Oh, he can repent. No, read it again.
Obadiah, verse 9. It says, and thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter.
That's right. So in the near future, all you so-called white people, the Most High is going to allow the nation of Israel to exterminate you from off the face of the earth, man. After you serve 1,000 years of slavery. Okay? You're going to be exterminated, man. Okay? And you can see why. Everywhere the so-called white man goes, rape, robbery, and murder follows him, man. Injustice and wickedness follows him, man. So you got to cut him off, man. He has to be taken out of power. He got to be beat down. Okay? He's got to be punished for the crimes that he's committed. Then he has to be exterminated, man. That's the only way you can deal with him. Okay? Keep going.
Verse 10, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob.
Yeah, who is Jacob? Jacob is the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Alright? So it says for thy violence. You get that's going to be signed off or something. So it said for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, okay, which Jacob represents the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Right? This is the violence that you so-called white people did to our people, man. Okay? Having a mass genocide and putting us in slavery, okay? Cutting off our hands and noses if we didn't reach a quota, okay? Ripping the babies out of our woman's womb, cutting their stomach open and letting the baby fall out and letting it get eaten up by dogs, okay?
It says, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee.
So shame's gonna cover you for what you did, man. Okay? Keep going.
And thou shalt be cut off forever.
Yeah, thou shalt be cut off forever. You're the only nation that's gonna be completely wiped off the face of the earth, man. You're gonna be the only nation that the Heavenly Father is gonna destroy, man. Okay? All these other nations, the wickedness that they done, they still gonna be around, man. You so-called white people, the Most High is gonna exterminate you, man. Right? Ain't gonna be no Edomites in the near future. Okay? After that 1,000-year period is done. And it's gonna be a long 1,000 years, mind you. Okay? Ain't gonna be short like these years. These years go by quick, man. We get into the kingdom, everything's gonna be slowed down. Alright? We gonna really enjoy the kingdom, man. You so-called white people, you gonna catch pure hell, man. Alright? We don't know how long a day is gonna be. A day might be 72 hours, man. Maybe longer than that. And every hour of the day, you fucking Edomites gonna be
everywhere, man. Okay? More prophets are being risen up, cursing you damn devils out, man. Telling you that your destruction is not. Right? And them things that Satan was telling you, it ain't coming to pass, man. Look, you do this, the Israelites will go away. More cancers popping up. Okay, let's see, you did it. You gotta do this. More cancers popping up. You Edomites are through, man. You elites are through, man. Your kingdom is done. Okay? Most High's getting ready to destroy this country. He's getting ready to allow the nation of Israel to put you in slavery, man. Right. All right? You go.
And with the multitudes of thy sorcery.
Yeah, because you elites, you're in the witchcraft, man. You worship these other deities, these pagan gods. Okay? Molech, Baphomet. Okay? And any other deity that's out there, Kali. Okay? These elites worship these deities, man. These false gods. Okay? So the Heavenly Father's telling you to stand now with your enchantments, man. Okay? You better ask these deities that you've been worshiping what's going on, man. Ask them to see if they can get you out of this situation that you're in.
Wherein thou hast labored for.
Yep.
It says, wherein thou hast labored for my youth.
Mm-hmm.
If so,
yeah, because since this country was established, you've been in the witchcraft, man. Okay? Everything you do it through after the counsel of Satan, man. You get counsel from Satan before you make your moves, man. All right? Keep going.
If so be thou shall be able to profit.
Yeah.
If so be thou mayest prevail.
Yeah, you ain't gonna prevail. Okay, why? Because those deities that you worship, they work for the Heavenly Father, man. You doing His will on the left-hand side. Keep going.
Thou art weary in the multitude of thy counsels.
Yeah, thou art weary in the multitude of thy counsels, man. Because you gotta have more counsels. Okay, it's different splits within the Illuminati. Okay, you got one group that wants to push the chip down. You got one group, nah, don't do it. Now's not the time. You know, so it's warring factions even within the Illuminati, man. Keep going.
Then now the astrologers, the stargazers, and the monthly prognosticators,
yep, stand up. This is all the people that you use to get a revelation from them demons that you worship, man. Okay, the stargazers, look, the stars are aligned this way. We're gonna prosper. Our new world order is gonna be able to be fulfilled, man. Keep going.
And save thee from the things that shall come upon you.
Yeah, so let's see if they can save you from these things that's getting ready to come upon you, man. Let's see if they can save America from being destroyed. Let's see if they can save you from going into slavery, man. Okay, keep going.
Behold, they shall be as stubble, the fire shall burn them.
Yeah, because these gods aren't real. These gods that you worship, that big ass Molech that you got up there in Bohemian Grove, that shit gonna be destroyed, man. That bull
Shai!
All right? Read it out real quick.
It's the book of Revelation, chapter 18, verse 21. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down.
Right, that's how this country is going to be destroyed, with violence, and very, very violently. Okay? First of all, it's going to be race riots in this country. Okay? So-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, they're going to be hunting down you cuck Edomites. Okay? And then the icing on the cake is going to be those nuclear missiles, man. But that's going to be a very violent act. Okay? Scriptures tell you that the whole earth is going to shake, man. All right? Then afterwards, it's going to be a nuclear winter. You people going to have radiation poisoning. Okay? That's violent, man.
A cake needs candles, right?
Say it again?
A cake needs candles, right?
Yeah. That's right.
hey, you know what?
200 million candles, man.
Well, hey, everyone likes to see fireworks, you know, celebrate. Most High is going to bring in the real fireworks, right?
And you're going to go out with a bang. This is the biggest fireworks show ever.
Ever. And ain't going to be a little shit blowing up in the sky, man. You're going to be seeing, boom, this flash of the light. You're going to see mushroom clouds, all right? And you can see the chariots. It's going to be crazy. That's going to be glory, man. It's going to be amazing.
Superheated winds. Right? This place is done, man. And everything that you see around you is going to be level flat. Okay? The subway is going to be destroyed, man. The scriptures tell you that the Most High is going to destroy the foundation of this place.